We have reached this episode of Touhou lore, so what will we focus on today? Well, basically all the official games that I have yet to talk about that didn't really fit in with the other lore videos. So, you know, Shoot the Bullet, Violet Detector, that game that got delayed for a while. Yeah, there's nothing more to talk about, let's just begin. So, let's begin with the first Touhou game released after I was born. Shoot the Bullet, aka AYA Maru's first game. Her game involves her shooting photos of spell cards for whatever reason. Even the manual reveals that no one knows the purpose of the photos except for Aya. She does not shoot any of her opponents as she wanted to be nice, as she did not want bullets in her pictures, I guess, which is why, you know, the bullets just get cleared up when you take a photo. That was all literally written on the wiki. So I guess Aya goes through the stages and takes photos of her friends. Like, one day she goes meets up with the night yokai, Wriggle and Rumia, to take photos of them. Next, she meets up with the ice yokai, Cerno and Letty, and I guess they have some ice cream or something, so that's why she wanted to meet with them. On the third day, she meets up with Alice and Kane, the fourth day with Medicine, Raisin, and Tei, the fifth day with Hong Meiling and Patchouli, the sixth day with Chen and Yomu, the seventh day with the living JoJo references Sakuya and Ramilla, and apparently the game nicknamed Ramilla as World of Crimson. Yeah, insert King Crimson reference here. On the 8th day with Ron and Yuyuko, 9th day with Eren and Kaguya, and on the final day, the only combo that makes sense, Komachi and Shigeki Yamashanadu from the best Touhou game of all time! Oh yeah, there was the extra stage where you meet up with Flandra Scarlet, which was actually her last appearance until 17.5. Spoilers! Also with Yukari Akumo, Fujiwara Nomoko, and the Japanese goblin drunk herself, Suike Ibuki. So I guess Aya wanted to take some photos of her friends for her friend photo scrapbook or for her newspaper. I mean, that's just kind of my headcanon. I mean, I'm making this up on the spot, so. But yeah, there really isn't a lot to Shoot the Bullet, but you gotta admit, Retrospective Kyoto is such a good song in this game. Like, honestly, it's amazing. So next up is Hatate Hime Kaido's first and only game. Double spoiler, where you have to unlock her later on. Come on, it's like playing a Mario game where you have to unlock them at the end of the game. We all know Aya runs her own conspiracy newspaper outlet, the Bunbun Maru newspaper. She's supposed to take pictures of humans, yokai, and other interesting garbage to write about in her paper. However, Hatate Hime Kaido runs a rival newspaper, the Kakashi Spirit News. Hatate wonders why Aya's newspaper is more popular than her news source, so she decides to stalk her to see why her paper is more popular. While Aya is gathering the news, Hatate decides to finally encounter her and declares war on Aya and her conspiracy newspaper outlet, as she expresses disapproval of the sensationalist nature of her newspaper. That is where the main story kinda ends. It's short, but due to how you can play as either Aya or Hatate throughout the game, both will have different scenarios while fighting the characters. When you play as either of the characters, you will fight all the characters from Mountain of Faith and Unidentified Fantastic Object, plus Suika, Iku, Tenshi, Reimu, and Marisa! I freaking love Marisa. Yeah, that's just where the story ends. Fun fact, did you know that Aya shoots her photos with an 80s style DSLR camera? That's what they're called? While Hatate shoots her photos with a dingus flip phone via dot photography, aka Hermit Purple. Alright, 2 JoJo references, I'm done with them. Let's move on. Next, we move on to Great Fairy Wars, or Fairy Wars, or Touhou Sangetsusei. I don't know how you actually pronounce it in English, but it's the game that Cerno stars in. It's based on a Touhou Sangetsusei manga, so great, I got another Touhou lore video on my bucket list. Anyway, the 3 fairies of light, Sunny Milk, Luna Child, and Star Sapphire, destroyed Cerno's house the previous winter as they wanted other fairies to gather together somehow. And Cerno, being Cerno, mistook that as a declaration of war. And I mean, if my friends burned down my mom's house, I would honestly declare war on them, honestly. The following spring, Cerno meets up with the 3 fairies so that she can punish them. So she did that. Luna Child, down. Star Sapphire, destroyed. Sunny Milk, DE_destroyed. After beating up the terrorists, Cerno decided to become the leader of the 3, but she had no idea what to do with that power, so she quickly stepped down from that position. Cerno knew that she was strong, but Aya told her that there were some humans done viewing some flowers, and Cerno was like, I want to see some flowers. So she decides to go, to that flower field, whatever. While she was traveling there, Cerno encountered Marisa Kidesame, where she challenged her to fight. Cerno then fought Marisa while the greatest Touhou song of all freaking time Magus Knight was playing. After beating up Marisa, Marisa had some respect for Cerno due to her strength, and then they both went home. Very funny ending? Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that the art style in this game is quite different from all the other Touhou games, as it was illustrated by Makoto Hirasaka, you know, the artist behind the Sangetsusei manga, which is a pretty interesting artistic choice. Maybe Zun was like, hey, Mr. Mirasaka, you know, can you illustrate this for me? You know, I'm working on other games. And I guess Mr. Mirasaka was like, oh, sure. Next up is probably the most neglected Touhou game outside the PC98 series, Impossible Spellcard. After the events of double-dealing characters, Seija Kichin wanted to become an Amano no Jaku in Gensokyo. She didn't get to notice that whoever captures Seija will win a reward. Seija, being the rebel she is, decides to take this as a challenge. Various yokai use their most powerful attacks, said to be impossible to dodge. However, Seija does not give up and decides to cheat the spell cards using various items like a Miracle Mallet replica, a Tengu's toy camera, and a Yin Yang orb. Later on, after beating up various strong yokai like Moku no Fujiwara, Kyoko Kasudane, Cerno, and Mamizu Futatsuiwa, the Tengu go and write about the chaos between the yokai and the humans trying to capture her. Later, Shin Momoru Sukuna confronts Seija that tells her, hey, cut it out. Since they had already lost the war in double-dealing character against Reimu and her friends, Shin Momoru pressured her to surrender, but Seija is Seija and decides, no,
Hey, Sukuna, screw you.
And decides to go against her will. So, Shin Momoru decides to go and capture Seija along with many other yokai. After beating up various yokai that I am showing on screen here, Seija revealed that she had lost all of her allies, but she was fine with that since the Amano Jaku, you know, her species, can't really make friends anyway. Yeah, it's kind of sad for Seija, but I kind of relate to her. Next up, as foreshadowed in the previous lore video, is Violet Detector. From the events of Anonymity of Common Flowers, Sumarenko Usami's been having strange nightmares where she is trapped in Gensokyo and she is cursed to fight clone version of her friends. Sumarenko was getting done with the residents attacking her with their Damaku, so she decides to do the best thing that she could, and cope with it, by photographing the patterns and posting it on social media. That is if she lives though. After fighting all these characters that I am showing up on screen for 3 weeks straight of nightmares, she finally encounters her final foe, the fake Sumarenko, again. After beating her up again, she finally woke up on a boring Monday. She was confused on if the streams were real or if they were fake or something about that. However, she was glad that her nightmares have ended, and at least for now, she can post the photos on social media with her friends. Ay. The latest of the side games is Gouyoku Ibun, which has been in development hell for years, and I believe was released after Unconnected Marketeers. Strange. Anyway, black water gushed onto the surface and it released an odd odor. Some saw it as good fortune, while others saw it as either misfortune, evil, holy, a natural disaster, or even a business opportunity. Sometime after though, something horrible destroyed their positive mood on this strange event. The springs that they drank water from and swim in began to be affected by the strange black liquid, so our friends go out and investigate to see what the hell actually happened. This time, I think it's only fair that we try someone different this time. Kaneko Yasuka, our friendly Moria Shrine neighbor. While on her way to investigate whatever the hell happened, she encounters the most useless character of all time, Yamame Kurodane, you know, the spider. Yamame reveals that she is really hungry and hasn't eaten anything since the morning. Unfortunately, Kanako was not into Yamame's vor fetish, so she beats up the spider. Later, she enters the underground fusion reactor where she thought the aforementioned oil might be flowing onto it, and worries that it may be decommissioned if the oil flows onto the reactor more. Reimu Hakure then shows up and was also investigating the incident. Kanako and Reimu then had a conversation about petroleum and gas and all that garbage I don't care to read up, until Reimu believes that the nuclear fusion reactor was just a refinery for the petroleum, aka the oil used in this incident. Kanako knew Reimu was stupid, so she had to defeat her. Respectfully, of course. After giving Reimu a boo-boo, Kanako tries to tell her that she was also investigating the incident, so Reimu was like, yeah, that's your problem. In the land of the former hell, Kanako thought there might be something of interest there, and there appeared to be oil flying around, but she did not expect that to happen according to her calculations. Then suddenly, Joon and Shion Yorigami appeared, where Joon revealed that she splashed Kanako with oil accidentally. Kanako was not pleased by this, so she decides to fight the both of their annoying asses. After beating up the both, Joon complains that Kanako beat them up without mastering the use of oil. Then Joon and Shion both joke about Kanako's fusion reactor, which did not make Kanako happy. Anyway, back at the fusion reactor, Kanako wonders if Shion and Joon were behind all this mess, which is plausible. Suddenly, Minamitsu Murasa enters and tries to flood the reactor. Kanako was kinda pissed off by this, so she fought the captain and won. Murasa reveals that she was trying to flood the reactor because she was ordered to by Biraku and Hijiri, as they thought the oil came from the reactor. Back at the former hell, Kanako meets up with Kutaka and Niratari, where she asks Kanako why she opened up the hole in the Sansu River. Kanako says that it had an infinite water supply, but Kutaka was not pleased by this, so she decided to punish Kanako. After roasting that chicken's scum, Kanako reveals that she was only using the water to cool off the hell of blazing fires, and so that she can reach the form of hell of blood pools, and to stop the pollution of the oil, involved in the incident. When Kanako enters hell, she sees an entire ocean of what appears to be petroleum. Then the yokai behind the incident reveals itself, Yoma Totetsu. She does not want Kanako to get a single drop of the oil, so she tries to kill her. After running away and Kanako chasing her, Yuma reveals that the oil ocean is not really oil, but it is rather blood? But it comes from the fear, pleasure, grief, loathing, and resentment of the living. Kanako was not pleased by this, so after finding out the secret, she beats her up. After at the Moria Shrine, Kanako discusses the encounter with Yuma. Then Kanako and Suwako, hey, that's me! Talk about how oil is a cursed substance from the outside world. Got some political commentary. Then they decide to make a contract with Yuma to stop the oil eruption. Any future leaks will be dealt by Kanako. Finally, at last! I have covered all the lore of all the Touhou games. Yeah, I think this might have been the weakest Touhou lore video yet, but, that's okay. You guys enjoyed the series, that's all that matters. Gouyoku Ibun was the most interesting, but the most confusing of the games that I talked about, as the whole oil plot was just kinda confusing. And the other games I talked about were, pretty interesting in how short they are, so I had to improvise. Anyway, I'm done with the garbage for today. I'm probably gonna eat some goldfish or some cereal right now. I'm kinda tired. Anyway, go in peace, my brothers and sisters. The video's ended. Yeah.